Alright, so the first thing I'm doing is I'm just going to the builder and I'm installing that Parallels app you're going to need and the wireless adapter. So I'm going to kick this off and run the bash.me file, or the bashme.sh, sorry. Let me kick this off and then I'm going to fast forward over all the install because it took it took 10-20 minutes. It took a while. So let me just skip right over that. Once that finishes, then I installed the Wi-Fi manager, that WIC or WICD, and then I also added the gconf, the GNOME configuration editor. So right here I did sudo app.get install WIC, and I was screwing this up for half a second. I blanked out and remember how to install two things in a row. So WIC is a separate one, gconf editor is a separate one. So I installed both of those, and again I'm just gonna skip over the actual download and install because those took a while. Alright, so then those finished, I opened up Firefox and I went to the RPITC forum, and while Firefox was taking forever, I opened up a browser and I was going to do those config files that I posted. So the command line.txt file and the config.txt file where you have the overclock. And just to make it easier, I went to the forum and just copy and pasted what I put in there, just so that I didn't have to retype it. Plus, if you do that, you don't have to worry about having a typo. So I just jumped over to the forum real quick and clicked on that post. And it was slowing down because it doesn't like multitasking, but alright, so I jumped to the post and at the bottom, and then I just copied the code for my overclock settings. Grabbed all that and I put it at the bottom of the config.txt file. And the overclock settings I got from a different site, because I think I was reading on this forum site and it seems like it's overkill, but I haven't had any issues with it, even though I know I'm pretty close to pushing it to the max. So, and then so then after I saved, I added to the bottom and saved it, and I jumped into the command line.txt file and I changed that console tty1 to console tty3 on the left side, and then on the right I added the logo.no logo and log level equals 3. And the logo.no logo gets rid of the Raspberry Pi logo at the beginning, and then the log level changing the log level to 3 makes it show basically way less. So while that video is playing, typically it shows you all the detail, which makes it take longer. And if you turn that down to 3, it makes it go faster behind the scenes, so it'll boot quicker. And then I came to the opt folder and then the scripts, and I was creating a new file for your restart command. So I was going to do a restart.sh, just make a blank one, and then edit that guy and just put a basic sudo reboot. Save that, and then I was going to change the permissions on it next. So set to user so that the root and the user can get to it, and I told it to be able to run as a program. And then I also changed it just to open up with Xterm, just in case I wanted to test it. It wouldn't try to open up with mousepad. So after I did that, I went to the user. I was going to make a desktop file or desktop config file, so I went to the user share applications folder, and I made another blank folder in here, or file in here, and I called it just restart.desktop, all lowercase. And then I basically opened up a different desktop config file and started copying over what I needed instead of typing it out. So I think I just used Firefox. So I opened this one up on the left, slid this off to a side, and then scroll up, go to the Firefox config file that's under here, or the desktop config file, and I open this up. So, and I just grabbed basically what I needed and started changing out. So I changed the name, and one of the things you'll see in here is like the, I'll show you in a second. When I scroll down, there's the GNOME full name. If you change that, you can make it whatever you want, but if you change it right here, see the GNOME full name equals Firefox ESR, that's the name actually shows up in Docky. So on the left, I wanted to make the restart icon just say restart, and then on the right, I actually don't like how it says ESR web browser. I just wanted to say Firefox for the user, so I changed that real quick. And then I copied out, like, you know, where it's actually pointing to and the icon settings. So I just kind of copied this and changed it as I need it. So we're going to tell it to execute the script that we made earlier. So just point it to that path, that op folder scripts, and then the restart.sh. And I think I told it to run in the terminal. I don't know if that would matter because it's opening with Xterm anyway. And then technically you don't even need categories. In fact, I was going to put on our application, and I think it just said screw it. Clear it. We'll just blank it out. It doesn't really matter unless you're trying to categorize it, but I think I just blanked it. There we go. And then the icon, I left it like that for now just so you could see that, so I could find it quicker. So then when you scroll down, where's the there it is, restart.desktop. See, the icon changed. So after I change that, you go to properties, you can click on the icon then instead of typing it in and search on all the icons. And then under here, I went to, alright, so then I scrolled down. I was just going through here trying to find a power button or something that looked like a restart icon. That was already in here. I think there was one at the very bottom that just had like a pretty simple power button. And of course I was VNCing, so that didn't help. This is all just loading the graphics slightly slower. There's the shutdown. So I used that power button, added that, and then I actually forgot to add it right away. So I changed permissions, changed this to users, just like the script file, told it to run as a program, and closed it. And then I should have added it to the left, just dragged it over into Docky right here, but I think I forgot. I pointed to it, and then, oh yeah, I was gonna move Docky first. That's what threw me off. So I pulled that, went to Docky settings, clicked on the Docky tab, and then pulled it to the bottom. And I just changed all this to most of like the basic settings. And if you tell it to do the manage windows without launcher, you could tell it to do one of the, only on one of the Dockies you can have that. I deleted the one on the right, so I only had one anyway. But if you set that, then whatever programs you have open will automatically like be added to there. So how Xterm showing up on the bottom. So I just basically set that to default, and I add the clock. And then I think I changed the clock to be digital. And I dragged your Parallels client over. So I changed this stuff, and then I don't know if you're gonna actually use Conky or not at the top, but if you are, I could show you how to change all the font on that and make it look a little cleaner. So then next thing I open up that gconf editor that I installed before, and I drill into these folders, into the Docky folders. And then if you go through here, the Docky controller interface items and services, like drill through all those and just kind of go over, because they have a description at the bottom, all these checkbox settings of what they do. So one of the things I do is I turn off the compositor, which makes it run a little bit better. And I turn off the background desktop, just some of the basic stuff that slows it down on the load, or on the boot up. So right here, I'll turn off the compositor. And if you turn off the compositor and you have any of the fancier Docky settings on it, it complains immediately. So see this warning that pops up? So it'll do that every time you reboot it. So if you come under this gconf, you could just uncheck this, and then that'll not come up next time. And then this stuff, like the lock drags, you can lock it so you can't change the order of the icons you have. And then providers accept drops. If you uncheck that, it means you can't just drag things onto it, so the user won't be able to like move stuff or screw with the order. And then the show docky item, that'll get rid of the little anchor icon at the bottom. And I just kind of unchecked all these, unchecked allow them to pin so they can't right click on something and pin it. Pretty much locked down docky. And then the next thing I think I was going to show was how to just the easiest way to lock down the right click menu. Oh, okay, I'll do the startup first, I guess. So I turned off Conky at the end. And then I just went here and unchecked everything I would probably not use. And then depending on if you want to use a wireless, you're going to need to have that on or not. But if you plan on having it wired, just leave it off. It'll make it go slightly quicker. I think that's all I changed in here. And then because I haven't rebooted, and this is the first time that Docky ran, it like didn't save all those settings. So you'll notice that anchor icon still at the bottom. Everything I was setting earlier didn't really change. So on here, one of the desktop settings, that menu, you can uncheck that thing, and that basically disables the right click on the desktop. So that's one way to lock it down. And then the other way to lock it down, there's all these keyboard shortcuts. So if you go under the keyboard, you could set like all the custom ones that were added. You can remove them or change them wherever you want to really lock it down, because technically they could still do Alt F3 and this comes up. You could open up, do like a search for any program, like get to a terminal, or so that's not cool. So you could lock it down. You could remove those shortcuts, or you can drill into like every shortcut that's in XF, this whole display, if you go under the settings editor. So what I would do is go down here and play with turning these on and off, or removing them to lock it down. But then before I would do that, I'd probably log in as the root user and make a shortcut on the roots that lets you like just open up this settings editor directly, so that if you ever want to undo stuff, you could. I would leave the Alt F4 shortcut, so you could like just Alt F4, log out, log in as the root, and then turn them back on as you need them, so that the user would have a completely locked down view. So I'm going to go back in the gconf editor, because on here it didn't save my settings, just because it was basically, if you just restarted once and then open this up, it would be fine. But see, all that stuff didn't change, and first I was a little confused. But there's a checkbox under here that says like, is this the first time it's ran? And if that's checked, which I think I might have showed it. Nope. Basically, just if you just rebooted once and then open this up, you'd be good to go. So I redid everything I'd changed before. And you'll notice this time now the anchor at the bottom's gone, and it's locked down. So if you right click on it, like I'll right click, so now all those settings are gone. You can't get to the settings or move stuff around. So that's locked down. You can't drag the icons. Nothing works. So then I did a cold reboot. Just kidding. I don't remember what I changed here. Oh, I forgot to add your the restart shortcut that I made earlier, the script. I don't remember what else changing here. Oh, the clock settings. And you could drill through all of these if you want to like see what else you could play with. But I pretty much had this whole image done in a minus the download times, like of installing those first couple apps. I had the whole thing done in probably 25 minutes worth of work, like worth actually changing stuff, so it wasn't too bad. But I've spent so much time screwing with this, so I kind of knew what to do. Alright, so here I dragged the restart icon I made earlier snap that on. I had to undo the docky so I could drag that on there because I made a mistake. And then I got to go back in and re-lock down docky because I had it locked so you couldn't drag stuff onto it or pin stuff. And then I'm just showing you here that you do F3 and still get to things because I disabled the right click at this point. So if you went down and locked the keyboard out, you'd be good to go. And then I'm redoing I'm redoing those docky settings that I had to undo to add the restart button back on. And then I think I rebooted it, but remotely, when I rebooted it, it wouldn't shut it all the way down. So it only worked if I was actually directly sitting on the machine. Because I VNC'd onto it, it wouldn't completely shut it off. So I had to go over, unplug it, plug it back in, and then reconnect to it just to show you how the conky's gone and everything else. Now it's overclocked, and it was running great. And you can see everything was basically, I think this is the setup you'd want. It's locked down, you can't right click. If you change the keyboard shortcuts, there'd be no way to get to anything. The only thing I would leave exposed is the old F4, so you can log out and then log in as a root and change stuff as you need. And that should be it.